Hey y'all, it's Meteorologist Erica Lopez. On this Wednesday, we're continuing to track Hurricane Ian. We have full team coverage the rest of today, so we got you covered. But before we get to the forecast details, I want to remind you of a special interview lined up with the National Weather Service, Ken Graham. If you have any questions pertaining to weather or climate, make sure you're sending them in the comment section, or you can always send us a direct message. Now let's go to what our storm chaser Aaron Jajak has been up to. If you don't know, we have two storm chasers out in the storm. Meteorologist Matthew Capucci, who's currently this morning in Sarasota, Florida, and of course our storm chaser Aaron Jajak, who's setting up in Bonita Springs, Florida. That's Lee County, Florida, just to the south of Fort Myers. And you can see a lot of rainfall here falling. He took the MyRadar car, so you possibly will see him if you live on Florida's west coast of Aaron chasing this storm. And we're getting ready for full team coverage here and the impacts of Hurricane Ian. So let's give you the latest updates on Hurricane Ian, a strong major hurricane closing in on the Florida coastline. It did go through a period of eye wall replacement, but as it does so, increasing in nature. Now we're expecting landfall sometime in the early afternoon, but as you can see, the track as it comes inland, still a strong Category 3 storm, and eventually as it rides up Florida's coast and even portions of central Florida, still a tropical storm. So we're expecting tropical storm force conditions over these areas, possibly hurricane conditions in portions of Orlando. So I'm talking about you guys in Seminole County, Osceola County, Orange County, Volusia, and even Brevard County. As this rides up portions of Florida's first coast, so I'm talking about you guys in Flagler, St. John's, Duval, Nassau County. This is where we're expecting also tropical storm conditions, where you currently are under tropical storm warning. A lot of the North Florida area under tropical storm warnings, Central Florida under hurricane warnings, and that extends into portions of Florida's west coast. So a lot to track with this specific storm system as we're getting ready to feel the impacts of flooding rains and even storm surge across Florida's west coast. But let's take you to WSI here and walk you through the impacts. So I want to show you this map first because this really details the amount of rainfall you could receive over this area. As you can see, over areas of Broward, Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, Martin counties, you may see between 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. Now, the severe weather risk is a little bit higher over this area, but as we pan up into portions of Hillsborough, Pinellas County, Polk County, Orange, Seminole, and even Osceola County, those rainfall totals go up. We're projecting of upwards of 20 inches of rainfall. That's about a foot of rainfall, maybe even more, up to a foot and a half. Now, as we push this into portions of North Florida, so I'm talking about you guys, Nassau, Baker, Clay counties, Bradford counties, Marion County, you also may see the brunt of the storm system of Hurricane Ian bringing in a lot of flooding rains, and this also includes the city of Jacksonville and Gainesville. Now, as we push this forward in time, so this is looking over the next 5 days, you can already start to see some of this rainfall already increasing for possibly all the way up into portions of the Northeast. Of course, we'll have more updated forecasts on the potential impact of Hurricane Ian across portions of the mid-Atlantic here, but as you can see, rainfall totals going up between 5 to 7 plus inches of rainfall across the coastline in the Carolinas and even portions of Georgia all the way up into Atlanta. You may get between 5 to 7 plus inches of rainfall, but that's one of the major risk factors. We got to talk about storm surge. So I want to show this next. And as you can see, that storm surge greater than 9 feet or above, definitely possible across those portions of Monroe County, Collier County, Lee County, and even Charlotte County. This is where we're expecting some of the most dangerous storm surge flooding to occur over this area. So we're talking about you guys in Marco Island, Fort Myers, as this is where potentially that storm system will make landfall. We may see of greater than 9 feet of storm surge, and that also goes up into portions of Manatee County, Sarasota County, and then Pinellas County, just to the north of Tampa there. You're going to see maybe of up to 3 feet of storm surge there, and that also includes portions of the Tampa Bay area, as the storm system has pushed significantly east and then riding up that Florida west coast there. So Pasco County, Henderson or Hernando County, Citrus County, and even Levi County and Dixie County, you may also get in on this 3 feet of storm surge. Now, as we pan over to Florida's first coast and portions of the southeast, you can see all of those regions extending into Georgia, South Carolina, and even Jacksonville. So Duval County, St. Johns County, Nassau County, you may see of upwards of 3 feet of storm surge. Now, Now, let's talk a little bit about that windfall forecast, because I do want to highlight this. Some of this has gone up, and you can see greater winds of more than 110 miles per hour, especially possible as the storm system makes landfall. So stick around, I'll show you that timing. So I'm talking about you guys in Sarasota, Venice, all the way down into Fort Myers. That also includes Polk County and portions of Hardee and DeSoto County. And this also includes Highlands County. This is where you're going to see greater than 110 miles per hour winds across Orange County, Osceola County, all the way down to Okeechobee, and even the Glades. You may see between 74 to 110 miles per hour. And of course, if you're anywhere in South Florida, so Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach, between 39 to 57 miles per hour. So that's about tropical storm force winds. Now, as we pan this up, it's no surprise that we're seeing tropical storm warnings for portions of Jacksonville, possibly into portions of Georgia, because we are expecting tropical storm force winds that may cause power outages over this area. So let's time out the impacts. Now, this is a very important time frame, so I will walk you through hour by hour of exactly when you can start to see these impacts. So looking forward in time, so let's actually go to 5 a.m. this morning. You can see a lot of the rainfall starting to increase across portions of Fort Myers, Tampa, even Orlando. This is going to be pretty much the scene throughout the rest of today. As you can see, a lot of that rainfall, and it's going to be nonstop. So this is why we have those flooding issues and flooding threats, maybe even possibly life-threatening flooding. And not only that, but we have a severe weather risk ongoing throughout the rest of the morning. As you can see, 9 o'clock a.m., that eye wall starting to get really close to possibly Fort Myers. And then pushing this around noon, a lot of those oranges and reds you're seeing on your screen, that's a lot of heavy rainfall. And that's going to be nonstop for portions of Central Florida. And then we're anticipating landfall between possibly 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And if it slows down anymore, maybe 3 a.m. between Fort Myers and Sarasota. So this is when the strongest winds will start to come in to portions of Florida's west coast. And then a lot of heavy rainfall across Tampa. That storm surge will also start to increase around that time. And then timing it out. So that's really when the brunt of the storm system or of Hurricane Ian will start to impact Florida's west coast. That's the worst possible time there. And then as we pan this over into portions of Central Florida, as we walk you through the evening hours, this is when really the strongest part of what will be, as it moves inland, Tropical Storm Ian will be in Central Florida, but a lot of heavy rainfall and wind threats will be picking up throughout the overnight hours into your Wednesday and even heading into your Thursday. Now, as we go into Thursday morning, conditions will start to clear for portions of Florida's west coast, and then eventually even Central Florida. But if you're anywhere in Florida's north coast there on the east coast of Florida, so Jacksonville and portions of Georgia and the Carolinas, this is when tropical storm, what will be Tropical Storm Ian as it makes landfall, will arrive over your area. So definitely this is going to be a multi-day event that will stretch into portions of the mid-Atlantic. Now, let's talk a little bit about the severe weather risk, because I also don't want to skip this. This will be important. We already saw several tornado warnings yesterday evening and even confirmed tornadoes that even made way to damages across these regions. So I don't want to rule that out. I don't want you to forget that this is another major risk factor with these tropical systems, and especially with Hurricane Ian and what are already produced. So here's a look at the severe weather risk heading into Wednesday and then also into Thursday. So Wednesday's a little bit more widespread as those outer bands start to reach portions of South Florida and Central Florida. And then as this moves into portions of Central Florida into the overnight hours and eventually into portions of the first coast in the early morning hours for your Thursday, this is where we have that risk of severe weather, especially the risk of tornadoes. So of course, the MyRadar team will keep you updated throughout the rest of the morning and into the afternoon and into the evening, all across our social media platforms. So stick with us on there. And of course, Aaron Jajak, Matthew Capucci will give us updates from the field. Meteorologist Mike Linden and Dr. David will be in studio, of course, giving you updates on the ongoing situation with Hurricane Ian. And I'll see you later on today.
Follow MyRadar on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Download MyRadar on iOS, Android, Amazon Alexa, Xbox, and Windows.